Sebastian, man, I know you're hurting like I'm hurting. It was a great series, great game. If you're the Canes staff, parents, everybody involved, hold their head up high after that one.
Yeah, I mean, well, the standard for UM will always be Omaha. That's being a blue blood in baseball. That's what you're expected to do. No one really expected this from this team, right? No one expected them to make it out of the Hattiesburg Regional. No one gave them really a fighting chance to even make it to said regional, and yet they were there, two runs from being going to Omaha for the first time since 2016. It's an effort that all the guys, all the coaches, staff, parents alike can be proud of, knowing that they went farther than they were really supposed to.
Yeah, 3-2. Really a game of inches, right? So, you have tough play on a double play there with the bases loaded. Obviously, huge play for Louisville. You can tell by their reaction that freshman pitcher went insane. Had been struggling with control. Um, a tough play by Mikey Torres that went in and out of his glove. We've seen him make that play. I mean, it was inches away. Would have been an incredible play. So, just the little moments there. A wild pitch advanced the runner. One of those things where not one play or one situation led to the result. It was just, again, a very, very race within margin. They had plays go against them as well. But ultimately, a close series that doesn't go your way. I don't think, in the two games Miami lost, I don't believe they had a hit with runners in scoring position in either of those two games. So ultimately, it seems like that was the deciding factor.
Yeah, I mean, this was your typical game three in a super regional, right? Both teams battling to the end, not really willing to give the other an edge. They both played it very well for most of it. I mean, there's a couple instances that you can point to and said, if we change that, this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, man, it's you can't change it now. And all you can do is just look forward to building off a super regional appearance. Again, your first in nearly a decade, and bringing back that standard to the University of Miami.
Yeah. And so, just before we move off this game and get to the future, Reese Lumpkin, really I thought the pitching staff was outstanding today. If you would have signed up a million times for what the pitching staff did today, huge home run by Max Galvin on a lefty. I think ultimately, if you would have told us before the game that Miami's going to score 2 runs, it's going to be tough to win that ball game. I don't think you can ask more of the pitching, but again, it's just one of those games where not one situation or one play or one pitcher or anything cost you here. It was just a tight game from a team that really, I think, stretched as far as they could based on their style of play, when a lot of games they probably shouldn't have won just by their grind and the way they played the game and some good decisions and timely plays, and then ultimately just kind of ran out of steam. But I mean, what a fun team to watch this year. We'll shift forward here in a second, but just watching this team, I know you obviously were a part of it early on in the season. So just, this group and what they meant, bringing Canes baseball back to relevance where it's June 8th and right until the last out, we're in this and enjoying some Canes baseball.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this team, I mean, the result may not be something that will be remembered, right? I mean, you're a team that has multiple national championships, a plethora of super regional appearances, but this team was a very special group from top to bottom, whether it was the sixth year seniors or freshmen that made an impact. From top to bottom, everyone bought in as a family, as a group that they welcomed me into and still consider me as one of them, right? And it's a group that if you've watched Canes baseball for the whole year, you've been part of the ups and downs, you see how they fight no matter what the outside's saying, no matter what the score is, they're gonna fight. They're gonna give it their all because they will die on that field for one another. And they in all honesty, this was not a team that had the talent of a top ACC, SEC level uh, team, right? And they took it to be one of the top 16 teams in the country. So it's a team that might not be remembered in the long run, but it was a team that definitely did a special job during this year.
Yeah, if we talk about the long run, first of all, shout out to, Dorian Gonzalez, Reese Lumpkin, Will Smith, right? Some of just the guys that are moving on. Some of these players, you just got to kind of see how the offseason goes. You never know with this modern college baseball what happens. But in terms of guys that are moving on, Tanner Smith, I know I'm leaving some folks out here. We'll see. Again, I'm just thinking of the guys that we know are gone. Some that have some decisions to make here in the future. But, shout out to those guys. Because really, to me, the long-term part is we make this transition here is you hadn't made a super regional in 9 years. So you do something you haven't done in 9 years. You get over that particular hump, get just a 1 run, let's say 2 runs here from going to where you want it to go. And now I think you've washed away some of the sting of last year, which was the worst season for the Canes since 1957. Move that to the rearview mirror. Now it's in the building stage, and I think if you're the Canes, obviously a ton of players to replace. We'll find out how many more. As the day, Carson Fisher, another one that I think is out of eligibility, who really was huge down the stretch here. So we'll see what the team looks like as far as guys leaving, but I think ultimately you need to score more runs going forward, and you want to take this momentum from what these guys did and accomplished, go into the offseason, build on whoever decides to stick around or whoever can stick around, and go from there and just build a more complete, sustainable team. I think from JD's standpoint, you say what you want, but I don't see how you expect what he had here to go farther than what it did. I think he overachieved with the team he had, and that's just the team was a great team. That's why they accomplished what they did. But you can't say that he held them back. I don't think you can say that about JD with a straight face this season. So now it's about just taking that roster and continue to build and build and build. You got some really good players committed with a Brylan West from FIU, who's a rock solid first baseman, gets on base, has some power. I think more physicality, which they need on the field. You saw it in this tournament and really all year. Just they were very rarely the most physical team in terms of size and strength on the field. Sean Copeland from Miami-Dade, slugger from that level of play, who I'm hearing some buzz about as potential prospect down the road. Lefty, big kid, I think 6'4", with some power. So you're adding more physicality on the corners, which you need to help Cuvée, and you'll continue to add. So we'll see where this portal season goes. We'll have it covered here on CanesInSight. Sebastian will be all over it, and we'll be all over it, just going over the latest additions. But I think you take the momentum now. Now you're not going to the portal selling, hey, you're going to turn us around from the worst season ever. It's, hey, we were this close to going to Omaha. Now let us build on what we had. So here we go. Look at the Derek Huck's talking about the turnaround. Trenton Breeze from 15-15 to 1 win away from Omaha. A lot of positive momentum that you want to keep building on. And, shout out to all of those guys. Switching gears to recruiting, man. Let's now switch into football. I know we got a lot of folks here ready to talk baseball, but actually before you get there, Sebastian, final thoughts on this team, which we'll talk about more, but I wanted to give this particular team flowers before we start going too far into the future.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of guys that you could rally around, right? I mean, Jake Ogden fan club, I mean, Ogden baseball, I mean, this team rallied around him. Fireman Will Smith, Sheriff Griff, obviously Cuvée, Mad Max, Max Galvin. There's a lot of guys that you rallied around, a lot of guys that you want to cheer for. There's no one that you really wanted to be like, I don't want to cheer for them. These were guys that you wanted to see succeed. And I think that you'll have a lot of these guys returning. Some of them you won't, but there's going to be pieces in place that you can really sell to people in the transfer portal, sell to recruits, and be able to build off that going into next season.
No, absolutely. So again, shout out to Canes baseball. It was a pleasure to watch. Made a lot of new fans, maybe brought some fans back to life here for Canes baseball. So looking forward, wishing all those guys the best again, that would be moving on in their next phase here, and looking forward to continuing to build on what you saw here today and this season. So shout out to those guys. Always going to be a shout out to Miami Hurricane Team Store. Had an incredible event yesterday for this autograph signing. Talking about Ruben Bain, Francis Mawanoa, some great players who were there signing. CJ Daniels was in the house. You had Markel Bell, just a lot of great players there for an autograph signing. So if you want to be, part of that experience next time, we'll keep an eye out when we post those autograph signings. I'm telling you, man, those are just a lot of fun, great events. Let me just pull up here so you guys can see what it looked like at the Miami Hurricane team. So this was yesterday. And this is from Brett Dorfberger. Just look at that, man. You see Ruben Bain, Francis Mauanoa, Markel Bell, and CJ Daniels. There were a ton of pictures like this from that event. So again, shout out to the Miami Hurricane team store. Make sure you go today. Promo code INSIGHT20. That's 20% off your first item. Promo code INSIGHT20. Make sure you get out there next time they have one of these autograph sessions. They are a lot of fun.